in the world does a bulimic alcoholic woman end up publishing a book about style and manners?
You guys, I'm here with Laura Martella.
Author Laura Martella is here.
Meet Gentleman Norman and Laura Martella.
And become a leading clean food expert, teaching people to change their lives through the food they eat. My answer?
Still. You see me fly, you know they'll never catch me for it. See me fly, the way I put my finger on it. See me fly, you got it.
It's the power of God's grace.
The wrong guy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I'm Laura Martella, and I have Norman here. I don't know if you can see him, just letting you know who he is if this is your first time tuning in. So on the podcast, we talk about all things health, hope, and gratitude. And I am so excited to welcome Dr. Carlyle from Carlyle Wellness.
Thank you.
Here on St. Simon's Island. And you can't see her, but his beautiful wife, Allie, is here with us. She is a friend. And just so you know, if you don't know them, they're the cutest couple on this island, married 29 years. He was a UPS driver when they got married. And we're not going to just talk just straight up chiropractic.
No,
I
we're
want to
not.
know all about you,
Okay.
the beginning of chiropractic, and you and your story. You just rebranded, and I'm just so impressed with all the services you have.
Thank you.
So let's start from,
The beginning of chiropractic.
yes.
So the first chiropractic adjustment actually restored hearing. Most people think it had something to do with pain, and it didn't. Dr. D.D. Palmer was a magnetic healer back in the late 1800s, and he had a guy that came and cleaned the office, that sort of thing, and the guy couldn't hear. And through writing, hand, sign language, all that sort of stuff, basically D.D. asked him what was the last thing you heard? He said, I was moving a box. I heard a loud pop in my neck, and that was the last thing I ever heard. So D.D. Palmer, being a magnetic healer, laid him down on the table, started checking some things, and in his words, he found a vertebra that was grossly wrenched out of position compared to the others. In his notes, he said, I took a crude contact and moved it back to where I thought it should go. There was a loud pop, and Harvey Lillard could hear again, and that's how chiropractic began.
That is an amazing story. In the 1800s?
Yes, chiropractic is, I should know this, I want to say 1895, 97. Chiropractors out there, don't beat me, but yes.
I love that story. And I was telling you before we actually started filming that my chiropractor in San Diego, I call him chiropractor / kinesiology.
Gotcha.
He practiced applied kinesiology, and he helped me more than my medical doctor, my functional medicine doctor.
Okay.
I am such a believer in the practice, not just for structural, but my food sensitivities,
True.
leaky gut. I mean, you all are holistic healers.
True.
Am
Your
I right?
central nervous system controls and regulates everything, to include your responses to the foods you eat and the way you digest and everything else. So exactly, your brain has to be able to properly communicate with your body. So chiropractic has always been the science, art, and philosophy of chiropractic, because it's a belief system that God created you to self-heal, self-regulate. It's what we call the innate intelligence, the inborn God-given intelligence to control and regulate your body.
Innate intelligence.
Exactly, the innate intelligence, INNATE, innate intelligence.
I love that. So how did you, tell us a little bit about your story. I know some of it,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I honor you. I know you served in
Thank
our
you.
military. And I
Marine
just
Corps,
want to
yep.
say I was raised to just so appreciate being born in the United States and to honor and respect our military and our military families. So thank you.
So for all my Marines out there, Semper Fidelis, Our son's in the Coast Guard, so to those guys, Semper Paratus. And our daughter is a deputy sheriff up in Dawsonville, Georgia, so someone else out serving. So to our first responders, welcome.
Wow, thank you. That's impressive.
So I got into chiropractic because my parents were into chiropractic and their parents were into chiropractic. My chiropractor took care of 5 generations of my family. He died probably 7 years ago at 85. He learned from Dee Dee Palmer's son, BJ Palmer, who founded, they started the Palmer College of Chiropractic. Actually, back then it was the Palmer School in Davenport, Iowa. And so he literally learned from the people that started the profession. We didn't go to the medical doctor when I was growing up.
Really?
Something was going on. We went to the chiropractor.
I love it.
So I literally was raised under the chiropractic philosophy, and it was wonderful. He started talking to me about becoming a chiropractor when I was really young. It's an interesting story. So my mother was driving my father's pickup truck, and a drunk driver crossed the line, hit it head on. I was in the back of the pickup truck, and I ended up in the ditch on the side of the road. So
At what age?
I was probably 11.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we started going a lot to the chiropractor back then. But he actually adjusted me in the hospital when I was a newborn. So during that time frame with the wreck, I started going a whole lot. And one day, my mom wasn't going as much. And he said, Philip, this is a auto accident. Insurance is going to know why your mother isn't coming. Where's she been? What's going on? And I said, well, I've been taking care of her at home. And
Really?
he kind of looked at me cross-eyed and he said, you've been what? And I said, well, I see what you do. And so I've just been doing it at home for her. And he said, well, you bring her into the office on your next visit and we'll sit down and we'll talk about all this. So we came in and he checked her and he said, okay, you do what you did. And I did. I adjusted her. And then he rechecked her and he says, okay, you've got a gift. We need to start talking to you about being a chiropractor.
At 11 years old.
Yes.
That is an amazing story.
Well, it was monkey see, monkey do. It was a technician concept because of what was wrong with her from the car wreck. And I saw him do the same thing as you try and get the ligaments to hold. I didn't understand any concept of what I was doing. I just knew mom's lower back hurt. So if you put them in this position and push, it stopped hurting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. I love that.
And he started talking to me about becoming a chiropractor. And he had told me that he would pay my way through chiropractic college if I paid my way through undergrad. And then he wanted me to take over his business.
And now where was this?
This was in Griffin, Georgia.
Griffin. Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't want to, when you're young, you don't think that far along. And you don't think from a financial, what kind of commitment he was offering at that point and everything. So, and I really wanted to serve the country. So I went into the Marine Corps for 6 years right out of high school, which was the best thing I ever did because that allowed me to grow up enough and get me figured out so that I could go through undergrad in chiropractic, because if it worked for the Marine Corps, I don't think I would have had the structure and the discipline to have accomplished it.
What did you do in the Marine Corps?
I was a ground radio repairman. I fixed all the man-packable and vehicular configured radio and satellite systems.
Okay,
So-
that's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful.
I'm not sure what that is.
So
but
so
tacky.
basically,
Was
so
it techie?
basically, I was out with the battalion commander with the radio. The radio goes down, the satellite goes down, whatever he was using to communicate back to the other people. I had to fix it.
So when you were in the Marines, were you thinking chiropractic at all? Did you use your talent?
No, I really wasn't. I mean, in all honesty, but you know how God puts you down paths for a reason. Once you learn electricity and you learn how to read schematics and you learn about electrical flow and everything else, it is so easy to transition into the central nervous system. it's another wiring harness.
Oh,
If
I
you know
love
where the
that.
wire goes, if you know where the nerve goes, and again, it's the same concept. If there's a mild short in the electrical system, it's going to cause problems. If you've got pressure on the nerve, it's going to cause problems. So to me, chiropractic college made more sense because I thought of it as an electrical circuit.
Oh, that's fascinating to me. So you got out of the Marines,
Yes.
and
So
then what?
Well, I met Allie, but we won't go there.
Well, we can go there. I want to know about you all.
No.
Did I say that they coordinate their outfits?
You
I
did
saw,
not.
Okay. They coordinate their outfits. Follow them at Carlyle Wellness on Instagram. Super fun and cute. Okay, go ahead.
But no, I mean, I got out of the Marine Corps and I'd done part of my undergrad while I was in the Marine Corps. So as you mentioned the UPS thing, while I was finishing up undergrad at home, that's when I worked for UPS, basically did everything for UPS. But it was a means to an end to get to be able to go to chiropractic college. Just had to get
So
the
did
rest
you
of it
go
out
to
of
the
way.
one that you mentioned earlier?
I went to Davenport, Iowa, which is where chiropractic was founded. Exactly. Yep. That's where he wanted me to go, and that's where I went. I went where he told me to.
I love it. So how did you all end up here? And then we'll get into more chiropractic, but I'm just so intrigued in everyone's story.
So what's interesting is, well, he had retired here. And so he wanted me to come down and take care of him and his family as they were aging. When you're in the business, you know the quality of care. And so he was having to drive an hour to get the quality of care that he needed. And so he wanted me to come down here to take care of him and his family as they age. And for me, as a right out of chiropractic college, to have my mentor of 40 plus years, his knowledge, or he practiced for 40 plus years. So to be able to pull from that, I have a difficult case. I just pick up the phone, come on over, let's talk about this. So to be able to pull those pearls of wisdom out on how to take care of people was amazing for me.
Oh, that's so good. I love that so much. So when did you all rebranded. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you came? I mean, there's so many things to talk about. So talk about Carlyle Wellness and the rebrand. And
so
we're going to get to how we're partnering in a sense.
Yeah.
But I really want to come up to speed on really like who you are.
So chiropractic, again, it's about holistic. It's about health. And you start taking care of people and you want them to get healthy. And there are things that chiropractic can't do. There are things that need to be addressed in other modalities and everything. And so God leads you down paths. I watched both of my parents die horrible lifestyle decision. They had high blood pressure, they had heart attacks, they had strokes. My mom had 3 different types of cancer. So the people you care about, you see them going through things. I'm watching patients go through things. So my desire to try and figure out other avenues, other ways to help people led me to become board certified as a wellness physician, board certified in integrative medicine. From an exercise standpoint, I hold multiple exercise certifications. I created my own exercise program called Spinal Fit. Again, from a health standpoint, a human being is required to have a certain amount of exercise and motion, what we call proprioception in a day. And so my exercise program is designed to help satiate the genetic requirement for motion for a human being. When you look at health as an equation, what I talk about is health is equal to sufficiency and purity divided by toxicities and deficiencies. In your world,
That's right.
You're trying to remove a lot of the toxicities. You're trying to help increase the proficiencies and the purity and everything else, and you'll see a person's health get to another level.
Yes.
Well, as a wellness physician, that's the biggest thing is you've got to drive up part of the equation. You got to remove the other part because you need to raise the other side of the equal sign in order for a person to be healthy. And there's more things. I can adjust you every day till the cows come home, but if you have a toxic lifestyle and you're pouring your body full of poisons and toxins, people come in, well, why isn't it holding? Why aren't my, well, it's because you're drinking a 6-pack every night. You're,
eating processed foods,
all
sugar.
those. Exactly. Sugar is one of the biggest inflammation driving things out there, as you know. So there's so many different ways. So Carlyle Wellness is about trying to meet people where they are and help them get to where they want to be, because it's about their health. It's not my health. As you know, people aren't going to eat exactly like you and everything else, but you got to get them where they are and just get them to make that next step. And then that next step.
Baby steps are steps. This is what I always tell my clients. And no one in their right mind would ever be as clean and as rigid as I have to be.
Exactly.
I'm trying to avoid 3-day migraines, but I am, which maybe you're going to cure for me, but I am living proof that you can go anywhere, travel, date, and not have a freaking preservative.
Exactly.
You can live a life chemical free. It is possible. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the gut microbiome. But then I have a list of questions for you.
No worries. I'm ready for it.
All right. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I am discounting my first session from $150 to $75. That's a 90-minute session. I know everyone is struggling right now financially. Summer is coming up and everyone's wanting to lose weight. Please book your Zoom session or your in-person session through cleanfoodexpert.com. Let's get a plan for you. I want you to fall in love with taking care of yourself. I've got your back. All right, welcome back. And while we took a break, Wayne had to go tinkle. And then he was saying how, because he's upped his water, he's hydrating. And then Dr. Carlyle started talking about putting a fruit when you're drinking that much water.
Yeah, because what happens is a lot of people, they try and drink a lot of water, which is a good thing. God intends you to get your water through your raw fruits and vegetables, because they're about 70% water, as you know. So
Cucumbers,
that's how
watermelon.
all of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's how God intended us to get our, and then it comes with all the trace minerals and everything else. But what happens is people take these big thermoses and they drink all this water all day long. And what ends up happening is they end up flushing out their trace minerals and their vitamins. So the simple solution is to take a slice of fruit, don't care whether it's lemon, lime, whatever it is, peach, pear, don't care. Just drop it in the water. Those enzymes will ooze out of the water, and that'll work with your kidney to retain your vitamins and minerals so that you don't flush it out. So if you're drinking a lot of water and your urine is clear, you're actually dehydrating yourself, and you're creating an issue that can be very detrimental.
So Wayne, did you have color?
So he's still good.
You know what? I talk to my clients about going number 1 and going number 2. It's a bodily function. We got to talk about
Number
the
2 is
poop
very
sometimes.
important. Very
It
much.
really is. So anyway, I do get personal with my clients.
You have to.
And I want to just check in with you on this back to the water thing.
Yes.
That's what my doctor that I told you in San Diego that helped me so much. And he said, I actually need salt daily. Just me personally. I don't know that he advises that to everyone. And
again, part of the trace minerals and everything else that we're supposed to have. Most people oversalt and they don't use the best salt. Like pink Himalayan salt's great, those sorts of things. But I know you know all that.
I love Redmond. Sea salt is just what I've always used.
Yep.
But yes, I do like the pink Himalayan sea salt. But you've got to know where it comes from. It gets a little complicated.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you something else. Hold on. I feel so lucky to just have you captive for an hour right here. My view on the salt thing is it's not, if you're using Himalayan salt or sea salt to salt your food,
Okay.
I don't believe it's that salt that is the problem. I think it's the hidden salt.
Oh, 100%.
In all these chemicals, in all these processed foods.
100%. Yes.
I am not afraid of salt, but
True.
you should be afraid of the hidden salt.
Very, very true.
Right?
Exactly. You're spot on. Yep.
Validate me. Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Because I am not a doctor and I
Yeah.
am not a nutritionist, and
Yeah.
you don't need to be one to be your own clean food expert.
True.
Right. I've just learned on my own journey. I just hit the mic. Is this okay? All right. So we were going to talk about, and I'm so honored that Allie reached out to me and wanted to know about my program. And I'm hoping that I can help
Yes.
your patients.
Accountability is huge. And knowledge.
Accountability and hand holding, and I take them grocery shopping.
Yep.
And every day they hear from me, and we have face-to-face sessions once a week
Yep.
to find out what's working, what's not. We set goals. And I always say it's very hard to change something you've been doing 3 times a day since the day you were born. And our food industry does not make it easy.
100. No, they do not.
The diet industry does not make it easy. It's
First
so
3 letters in
misleading.
die.
See, you have so many. So tell us about how you got interested in the gut microbiome and just speak on that. I have nothing else to say. I just want to listen. I'm amazed.
No worries. So, again, going back to the Marine Corps, I was with 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. We were one of the first ones into the first Gulf War. We were in the Hake Desert in Israel. They were cooking our food and shipping it 2 hours to us. The majority of the battalion came down with salmonella from the chicken. Rule 1 in the military should always be do not have your bathrooms too close to your food source. And they violated that rule. So I got a parasitic infection. What happened was, it's crazy. I was, again, on the way to the bathroom. They found me passed out in the desert. I had 104 core temperature. They packed me on ice and medevaced me out to the Navy hospital ship. They didn't know what was going on. They assumed it was salmonella like everyone else. I was on IV antibiotics for 2 weeks while they tried to figure out what was actually wrong with me. That's when I learned if you really want to know what's wrong with somebody, look at the poop, look at their feces. Who I felt sorry for wasn't myself. I wasn't in the field. I wasn't training. I'm on a hospital ship, getting fed, taken care of. But the problem was the guy I felt sorry for was the guy that every time I went to the bathroom, he was going and getting a sample and looking under the microscope to try and figure out what was wrong with my insides.
How long did this go on?
Like I said, it took him 2 weeks to figure out that it was Entamoeba histolytica, which is a parasitic infection. I'll never forget the name of it. So then they took me off of the IV antibiotics and switched me to another antibiotic. Took about 2 weeks of that to finally solve what was going on, and they saved my life. But what they did was they completely destroyed my microbiome. They blew everything up.
With all the antibiotics.
With all the antibiotics and everything else. So again, they saved my life, but what they did was they set me up, and I was what in today's world would be called leaky gut, irritable bowel, early stage ulcerative colitis. I had bouts of constipation, bouts of diarrhea. I never knew what was going to happen. My buddies always joked, hey, if you need some toilet paper when you're in the field, go see Sir Carlyle. He's got extra toilet paper, because I always took extra rolls with me to the field because I had no idea what was going to happen to me in my gut as I tried to live my life. And back then in the early 90s, nobody was talking about probiotics. They didn't know what they were. There wasn't a discussion about them. It wasn't actually till 2002 that the World Health Organization and the United Nations actually labeled probiotics as a healthy bacteria for human people. And so I had to start learning how to fix my gut. So the reason I got into the microbiome was is nobody really knew what was going on. And I had to figure out, okay, I can eat this. Okay, I can't eat that. Well, if I do this, it gets better. If I do this type of a kombucha and stuff like that, I started looking and trying to figure out, how do I fix my gut? And it was, trying to remember, the Microbiome Labs is a company that I use, and their fecal test, the BiomeFX fecal test, came to be, I want to say it was probably about 8 years ago. Before, you would come in and I'd say, give me your symptoms. We'd talk a lot about your bowel habits. And then I'd say, okay, well, let's try this type of sporebiotic, or let's try this type of probiotic, and we would go back and forth, and it was a guessing game.
Right.
And that's the way most people take probiotics today, is a guessing game.
I know. And you don't need them all the time forever,
No,
right?
and you definitely don't need. Here's what I'll tell you. If you've been taking the same probiotic for several months or years, stop. It's horrible for you. You're overpopulating even the good guys. So the BiomeFX test, what it tells me is every micropathogen, everything from the mouth all the way to the anus. I get the entire breakdown of the population, the indices, vitamin mineral absorption, hormone, neurotransmitter productions. There's just a volume of information. Then where I'm working with you is I can sit down with the patient and say, here are the foods I need you to eat, because I need you to feed these bacteria. Here are the foods I need you to not eat, because I need to starve out these guys, okay? And then here are the supplements that we need to do, because what your gut needs is a very diverse population. About 180 to 210 different types of bacteria is the optimum range. And pre-COVID, a lot of people were coming, it was close. Post-COVID, what COVID did, the hand sanitizers, all the different things, it's completely destroyed the American gut. What I'm seeing post-COVID is way worse than I ever saw before.
Wow, I did not realize that. But the hand sanitizer, but I do know, the skin is the largest
Excretory organ, yep.
So what's on the body is in the body.
Yeah, if you put it on you, you might as well drink it. You're accomplishing the same thing.
And you know what?
True.
As clean as I am, clean food expert.
Yes.
My guy in San Diego, I keep going back to him. Now I have a replacement. I'm so grateful for you. But
Thank you.
he, I kind of knew which products my body liked and didn't like
Exactly.
through the applied kinesiology. And it really helped, but I've just gotten away from that. So some accountability here on camera. I got to pay attention.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, it's too bad that you're seeing that. So, but the good news is with the right supplementation
Yep.
and the right foods and eliminating the foods your body doesn't need,
Yep.
you can restore it.
You can get it back to normal. It's an ecosystem. Bottom line is it's an ecosystem.
And how long does it take?
Pre-COVID, I could normally fix most problems in 3 to 4 months. Now it's taking me 6 to 9, depends on how bad it is.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they just do the test, the fecal test,
exactly.
and then
Then it takes it takes a few weeks. They've got to grow culture the lab. So they do the fecal test. They send it off to the lab. Lab takes a couple weeks to grow culture the lab. Then it's going to take them a few days to analyze it, generate the report, and then they get it to me. And then it normally takes me about an hour to go through the report. And then I generate a report. I'll sit down with the patient. It takes about 30 minutes. I go over their individual report, their individual recommendations, and then they can go from there. And as we're bringing you in, that's the goal, is because it's funny how many foods people, I've never even heard of that, like Jerusalem artichokes and burdock root, and there's just all sorts of foods that people are like, well, no kidding, I don't have
I've been
those
looking up artichoke recipes.
Yep.
And yeah, food, I never quit learning. And I'm so grateful to be working with you on this, because I'm going to learn. And I also want to take the test. I did have leaky gut.
Speaking accountability, she said that more than once.
Yeah. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. I did have leaky gut. I mean, when I found out I have all the food sensitivities
Exactly.
about 11 years ago, had leaky gut, there was a protocol. And that's when I started eliminating things I'm highly sensitive to. And just, I know you know this, but I just want to say this. I didn't know how bad I felt till I started feeling good. Does that make sense?
No, it's 100%. I see this all the time in the office, and people will go, well, I just assumed I was getting older, or I just assumed that's part of the aging process, or I just assume, and I'm like, no, God designed you to be a healthy, functioning human being.
Yes.
It's all the toxins and all the things. What amazes me when people ask me, well, what amazes you about the human body? You know, they're expecting the brain or this or that. I'm like, it's the amount of poisons and toxins that we can put into it and it stays alive.
Good one.
I mean, most people have no idea. They're like, well, I eat a pretty clean diet. And then we start talking and it's like, no, the standard American diet, AKA the SAD diet, is exactly that.
I just did a podcast on that. Dr. Mark Hyman talked about foods to avoid and foods to consume to help with anxiety and depression. And I just think it's really funny that the standard American diet is called SAD.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw a podcast where they were talking about if you go to, what is the organization for diabetes, the
American Diabetic Association. Yes.
If you go to their website, do you know what they recommend for breakfast? Mm-hmm. Do you really? Okay.
My wife is a diabetic, and she has been since she was 12 or so. Yeah. And it's funny, and it's not trying to bash any profession or anything, but the American Heart Association diet will give you cardiovascular problems. The American Diabetes Association will give you diabetes.
100%.
Because it's an industry.
Thank you. It is. Y'all, please listen. This is a doctor telling you this.
It's you've got to look out for, when I try and teach my patients, is you need to be your number one health advocate.
Correct.
You're not going to walk into a car dealership and buy the first car the salesman tries to sell you. You need to go in informed, figure out what you want, ask questions, because you get one body. You can buy a new car.
Right.
You get one body. So when you're putting this stuff in, and we're not taught this, but you know this innately. What's better for you, the apple or the donut?
Right. Yeah.
And if you set your food out and it doesn't spoil, is that good for you?
No.
Food rots. If it won't rot, it's not good for you.
There's things on the internet now, like a Chick-fil-A a McDonald's Happy Meal that was 14 years old.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many chemicals, packaged and processed preservatives. I know you know this.
Well, I want to say this while we're talking about it. I like to say, and as Americans, our taste buds have been hijacked by the food industry. And we don't know what real food tastes like, but I learned this in my own experience. It only takes like 5 to 7 days to recalibrate that relationship between your brain and your taste buds. And food starts tasting delicious. Clients enjoy clean food, real food, so much more.
Well, if you haven't had sugar for a while, try a carrot. Most people have no idea how sweet a carrot is.
Or an almond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I am discounting my first session from $150 to $75. That's a 90-minute session. I know everyone is struggling right now financially. Summer is coming up and everyone's wanting to lose weight. Please book your Zoom session or your in-person session through cleanfoodexpert.com. Let's get a plan for you. I want you to fall in love with taking care of yourself. I've got your back. Okay, welcome back. So there's so many things to talk about. We have this last segment. So a lot of I remember the first time I went to the chiropractor. It
Okay.
was probably 2003. So, and I was nervous. And, you know, having grown up in Atlanta, there's a chiropractic school there. And back in like the 90s, you know, I thought they were quacks.
Yeah.
And so I really want to talk about, let's just put that out there and talk about all the other aspects of Carlyle Wellness. Like, even if you don't want to go to the chiropractic route,
Yep.
you all have laser, you have
Acupuncture.
Chinese herbs,
Yep.
acupuncture. And I also want to say this. I am really big. I don't tell my clients, if I said everything in the first few weeks, people would be overwhelmed. You can't say everything.
True.
But supplements are not clean. There are so many brands that are full of chemicals, and I love
Yeah, they're more toxic to you than a health benefit you get from what they're supposed to have.
Last time
A
I
lot
had
of
my
them.
food
Most of them.
sensitivities test, my sensitivities changed, but the doctor wanted to put me on a very expensive detox that I would need detoxing from.
Yeah.
And additionally, 9 new supplements all at once.
And again, if you're detoxing, think of it like water and oil. You know, you get in there and you start stirring it up, you create more issues, you spread it more. So if you're not being properly detoxed with the correct binders and everything else to get it out, you actually create more retoxification than you do from doing it.
And I
It's
just
bad.
thought about how many clients just want to get well and they just trust and just, okay,
Yeah.
pay for all this and whatever. But back to, so you all carry
Yeah. So
supplements that, yeah.
So let's go back to chiropractic. I know there's a lot of people that are scared of chiropractic. They've never experienced it before. It happens every week in my office. Somebody comes in and they're mortified. We go slow. We talk to you. I explain it. Once you understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, to me, chiropractic's downfall is it's so logical. People always say, oh, the body's so complicated. Oh, it's just confusing. No, your brain needs to talk to your body. Your body needs to talk to your brain. And it's a very logical, to me at least, the body makes sense. And so chiropractically, we're going to go slow with you. I'll explain everything and we'll go gentle. It's not these crazy, like the TikTok videos of people getting their heads practically ripped off. No, that's not what we do at all. We won't go down that road about my thoughts on that. But if you don't want to do chiropractic, we've got acupuncture. Lori's great. Lori Brown, great acupuncturist. She's a herbalist as well. If needles aren't your thing, like you said, we do laser. Class 4 medical laser helps you to heal faster. So I have a lot of people come in, they've got twisted ankle, they're trying to go somewhere. We'll just do laser therapy on them because it'll expedite the healing and recovery of their injury. Supplements, just like you said. There's so many supplements out there that are bad for you. And so all the ones that I sell are the ones that my family and I personally take.
I love it.
Because I've vetted them. I've done all the research. It's not about making money. It's about making sure that it's pure. As I said, with that health equation, I don't want to give you something that's filled with all sorts of toxins and create issues.
Right.
So from a standpoint, Carlyle Wellness is about meeting you where you are, asking you what your goals are, and getting you to where you want to be. Just like you said with yours. I mean, you're not going to make somebody be as perfectly clean an eater as you, but you just got to slowly, to quote Jay Hansen, for those here that know Jay Hansen from the chapel church, small steps taken consistently in the same direction equals a great distance.
It does. That's beautiful.
So that's all we've got to
right.
do is get you where are you and where do you want to be?
Correct. I love that. And you also have orthotics.
We do orthotics. Most people, don't really understand. But if you had a house with a bad foundation, are you going to have wall problems? Are you going to have roof problems? So many people aren't holding their adjustments, and we come to find out it's what's going on with their feet. We get them orthotics. Their knees stop hurting. Their lower back stops hurting. They hold their adjustments and they get well. The goal at Carlyle Wellness is to help you get well. It's not to keep you coming, it's to get you well.
I love it. You're just saying all the things. My guy, San Diego guy, his name's Dr. Tony. He said, if you're on my table every week, I'm not doing my job.
100%.
Yeah. I love that. And you also sell pillows. Like you just,
Well, again,
I could hang out in there.
most people don't realize it, but your pillow can create an issue. So the two pillows we sell, which are the Proper Pillow and the Chiro Flow pillows, are designed to keep your head in an anatomical neutral position, whether you're a side or a back sleeper, which most people are both.
Yeah, I am.
So there's not really many pillows beyond those two that will accomplish a side and back sleeper or accommodate a side and back sleeper.
Well, I'm going to be in there. I bought an orthopedic pillow and it's a game changer, but now I want to see what you have as well. I'll be in there, Miss Allie. So we just have a few more minutes.
Okay.
What is the most, I'm sure you've seen a lot of healing. Tell us one story that comes to mind that has just been so fulfilling for you.
So recently I had a lady come in with crazy tinnitus. Nobody can really figure out what's going on with her.
And tell us what tinnitus
Tinnitus is the ringing in the ear.
Okay.
And so nobody could really figure out what was going on. We did a neurological exam on her and found out that she had a lot of nerve pressure up top. And I said, well, it could be. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a person has tinnitus. Okay. Mm-hmm. So first adjustment, she came in the next day. She said, I can't believe it. It's already lessening. After the second adjustment, she's like, I can't believe it's gone. And I said, okay, but mark my words, it's going to come back, because that's what happens. Because people get better, but they're not well. Mm-hmm. Things need time to heal. Kind of like when the doctor sets the bone, it's not well.
Okay.
But the pain goes away.
Right.
But the chance you bump it, you do something to make it angry again, happens. But she's also started talking to me about her gut and what was going on, because she's had digestive issues, and she's also having a lot of rashes and all that sort of stuff. And now they've kind of confined themselves to her upper head, and they're actually in her ear. And so we did a fecal test on her, and we just got the results back the other day, and I started talking to her about it and everything else. And she's got a pathogen that actually creates a lot of neurological problems. So
wow.
I might have been able to, with chiropractic, solve her tinnitus issue, but maybe not, because the pathogen is going to create a lot of toxins, can actually create meningitis and everything else with her and stuff. So now we're addressing that, because I have no doubt that that's part of what's going on. That's part of why she's having, as you said, the skin. It's the largest excretory organ. Mm-hmm. So if your body can't process it through the kidneys and liver, it's going to push it out through the skin, which is why she's having the rashes and everything.
That makes so much sense. That's such a good explanation. I had severe rosacea. And when I started eating clean and I eliminated dairy, my skin cleared up. Dermatologists don't tell you that. Well,
and that's one of the things. I've got friends that are dermatologists, and I joke with them, you couldn't pay me to be a dermatologist, because of most of what's happening in your skin isn't a skin issue. It's toxins being pushed out.
It's a gut.
It's a gut issue.
Gut.
Yeah.
Everything, really.
Yeah. I mean, they call it the second brain, but in reality, when you look at it, there's actually more communication between your brain and your digestive system than there is between the brain and the rest of your body. Mm-hmm. More signals every single second are in the enteric system between the brain and your gut, which amazes me.
You explain it more technically. I tell my clients where, my gut is telling me that saying, it's coming from, that's where it comes from.
Yes.
Like your gut is made up of tiny little nerve endings sending waves to your brain. And for me, as careful as I am, if I get something that I'm sensitive to, oh my God, Dr. Carlyle, it is like, I'm depressed, I'm weepy, it feels like PMS all over again at 58.
Well,
like I'm out of control.
90% of your serotonin, the hormone that makes you feel happy and everything else, is produced by the bacteria in your gut.
Yeah.
So if you do something that takes that population index down, then you're going to have exactly what you're saying. So
how long? I want to have you back
No
after
worries.
after I do the fecal test
No
and
worries.
after I start seeing you. But
we'll do that.
how long have you been doing the gut microbiome lab?
Oh, wow. I've been using probiotics and all that in the practice for probably 20 years. And
So
I've
the
been in
fecal
practice
test
for
is not new?
25. No, well, the fecal test
Yeah,
is
how long?
new. Yeah. The fecal test has probably been out around 8 years.
So you must be so happy. So anyway, how's the lady? I interrupted you because I'm so excited about everything you do.
She's happy. She's getting better. She's seeing those improvements each day. She's really happy to find out that she's got a pathogen that's creating it. As I said, the 180 to 210, she had 70 different types of bacteria. That was it. She's supposed to have 180 to 210.
Oh, no wonder. Poor thing.
So, and you have keystones, which are the bacteria that do the majority of her digestion and stuff. And so she was missing the vast majority of those as well.
So do we collect our own? You have a kit?
What we do is
We're not going in there and you're doing it like in the Marines.
No. Well, it's kind of crazy because bacteria have sex.
Okay.
And that's how you get a lot of different species.
Okay.
So when you're angry and upset with your spouse, you're not doing it. When the environment isn't good, you're stressed out, you're running around, you're not thinking about reproducing. Your bacteria are the exact same way. So step one is to get your gut calm, like you did with the cleanse and everything else, getting out the toxins, trying to be more and more pure, because you need to provide an environment for your bacteria that they're willing to regrow and repopulate.
Okay.
The ones in most Americans that are repopulating are the bad ones, the pathogens. The weeds always grow back before the grass does.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. One last question.
Yes.
What is the most challenging part? Like, what tell me about.
It's actually really easy. You have to fix you. I can't fix you. And I have people come in all the time, Doc, fix me. No, I can't do that. It's a team.
Sounds like accountability to me. I'm just saying.
It's an accountability. That's exactly it. It's a relationship. It's working back and forth with them. And the patients that drive me crazy are the ones that don't want to accept responsibility for their own health, or they want to say, well, insurance doesn't pay for this, so I can't do it. Well, insurance doesn't care about your health.
Right.
You do, or you should, and I do, and I know you care for their health as well. So to me, key is finding someone that wants you to be healthy, pairing with them, and working the program that you want to get you healthy the way you want to be.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Allie, for getting him here. She's in charge of him.
100%.
Anyway, thank you so much
You're
for what
welcome.
you do, and thank you for spending this time here with me.
Thank you for
I'm
having
really, really praying and hoping that we can really help some people and have some success stories.
We will.
All right. Thanks. Please hit like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can catch me on Instagram at laura.martella. We're now putting the podcast on LinkedIn, and you can follow Carlyle Wellness at Carlyle Wellness. Bye.
You know they'll never catch me for it. See me fly.